Right. Okay, we're here for a new episode of the Who Art Thou podcast. I'm with Scustin and with Wally and Joe. Guys, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Not a bother at all. Great to be here.
Now, we're here obviously to talk about Confessions of a Pub Talker. This album is fantastic. I kind of relate to a lot of songs in it, in kind of because I spend most of my time in pubs in a good way. But what I loved about the concept of it was, that I read anyway, was that it wasn't really so much as kind of like, you know, you hear stories about pub, you know, albums about pubs and, you know, short stories, whatever, and they're kind of dour and kind of beaten it. You kind of have a more positive spin on it. If you want to explain a little bit about that, where that concept comes from, of pub talking.
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, a lot of it is probably born out of my time working behind the taps at Harbour Bar and Bray. And yeah, just kind of being a barman there, obviously you encounter all sorts of glorious, wonderful shenanigans and characters. And sometimes it's dour and sometimes it's amazing. And sometimes you want to strangle the person on the other side of the bar and sometimes you want to give them a big hug. But I don't know. I think we were like, when we started this project and we were like chatting about what we were going to write about. And I think it just became apparent to me that the pub itself, for me, just represents like a community and like one of these kind of beacons of community within a town or wherever it is. And I think it's actually like quite a positive thing. And I think part of the reason as well, like we wanted to portray it in like a positive light is I guess like there's a stereotype of Irish people abroad in particular that, you know, we love drinking and we love fighting and we love all this, like, do you know what I mean? Whereas I think it's a lot more than that. And I think it's Ali Dunworth writes a great book called The Compendium of Irish Pints, and she writes about it a lot more eloquently than I'll talk about it. But she goes into the history of pints and pubs and kind of what they represent for Irish people in our culture. And I just thought I just think it kind of deserves that to be spoken about in a positive light, because I think like it's a place where people go to grieve. It's a place where people go to fall in love. It's a place where people go to make friends. It's a place where people hatch business ideas. It's so much more than just like having a pint. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the overarching theme behind it when we were kind of writing this album.
Yeah, because like that does come through, because like my first experience of when I was younger was going like my parent, well, my mum drinks, but my dad doesn't drink. So when I was younger, we didn't really spend times in pub. But when we were down in Kerry over summer, you would spend, it was Paddy O'Shea's was the pub we were always in, which is a lovely pub. Yeah. But that kind of, I was like, oh, people come in and watch the match. The locals come in and the bartender knows, you know, them, and they just have a chat and all this kind of stuff. And there'd be lads in their 70s on their own, just having the crack for a whole day. I was like, that's the atmosphere that I think more people should associate with than just, let's go to Temple Bar and get wrecked.
Exactly. And that's that whole Temple Bar productization of Irish pubs is like absolutely what it shouldn't be. Like, people, when they come to Ireland, should go out to the country and go to places like Paddy O'Shea's and experience all the little intricacies and uniqueness about each individual pub and each individual little town. I'm not saying going on a massive pub crawl or anything, but you know what I mean? Like each one has their own little nuances and their own little personalities, and I think they're amazing, like, and they're part of our heritage, and I think they should be portrayed in a very positive light, especially when there's like they're kind of at danger at the moment as well, when you talk about hotels knocking them down, wanting to build on them and stuff like that. So I just felt like the right time to talk about that for us anyway.
And like when you initially began writing, because it's very much obviously a characteristic of your music, was the storytelling point, was that always going to be an aspect of the music writing?
I think definitely, yeah. sorry, Joe. That was kind of the basis of Scustin from the beginning, was that we wanted to create this universe, where like the central character was kind of Larry, just kind of going through his experience within the pub itself. Because as Larry was saying there, or Joe was saying, that like most of us all have spent time in the pub. Be it coming into our teen years or being brought as kids by our parents, like you were saying as well. And it kind of made it a little bit easier in a way to kind of create the music around it, because it wasn't just a load of like songs kind of just shoved together to make an album. There was more thought and more kind of, you know, heft to it. You know, you had a reason to write the song, and you had much more kind of kind of coherency around it as well, because like a lot of the songs are about the characters you meet in the pub, and some of the songs are about how you feel during the pub and after the pub as well. So it kind of like helped to kind of root what we wanted to kind of make by having that central theme at the start of it being about the pub itself, you know.
And is it trickier writing a song knowing that you have to kind of follow this concept, or does it make it actually easier kind of knowing, you know, okay, we have this story, let's try to make lyrics for it?
I think both things are true in that point, because we definitely like kind of went down a rabbit hole at times being like, well, I don't know if that makes sense in the story. Do you know what I mean? Where it was like, well, actually, no, it can kind of be whatever it wants. And I think it delves in and out of kind of delves in between character work and almost autobiography as well. Whereas like a lot of it isn't fiction.
Yeah, well, I have a question about one of the songs, which I think you know I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
that I was surprised to read was actually somewhat true. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to go there now, or will we?
We might as well. How the fuck did the Matt Damon thing happen?
Pretty much, as Ron Seal says, it's what it says in the tin. That pretty much happened.
So funny.
I went up Brayhead one night, and there he was. And yeah, a bit of raucous happened.
Yeah. He sounds nice by the song.
He's a very generous human. Although he still owes me a tenner for the cans.
Was he drinking Carpacki?
He was.
A man of wealth and taste. Wow. Okay. A
man of wealth and a man of taste, exactly. You can take the man out of LA or wherever the hell he's from.
So again, because like obviously this, as you said, is like a concept album. If you want to tell us a little bit about the character Larry and who he is and kind of what he represents.
So, Wally, I might take this one.
Go ahead. Go
ahead. So yeah, I guess, look, Larry, the idea for Larry very much came from, like, I'm from Bray originally, okay? And everyone in Bray refers to each other as Larry.
Yes.
So you'll be going out for a night out and you'll be in the local pub and someone will turn around and go, all right, Larry, what's the crack? And you'll be, how we getting on, Larry? Not too bad, yeah. And you'll break into conversation and it's male, female, he's sexless, or yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just felt like that was just like the perfect name for this main character and this vessel that we experience these stories through, and to place him as the barman in the pub, it just made a lot of sense. He's the happy-go-lucky guy that you meet around town, and he's kind of a bit of everyone. And it also, I hope, makes him, like, that story and that idea behind him makes him quite accessible to people. But yeah, that's where the idea for Larry came from anyway.
Nice. Yeah, because it's funny, I work with a lot of interns, and when you use the term happy as Larry, they're like, because they're not from Ireland, they go, what the fuck does that mean? I was like, I actually don't know, but Larry must be a really good guy.
Exactly.
So when did the writing process for this album begin? Because obviously there's like COVID songs on it, but there's like earlier songs as well.
Yeah, I mean, the initial conversations around Scustin happened, I think it was 2018, Wally.
Yeah, we were just about coming off of our last project we were doing together, and there was kind of the whole the idea of the album, the concept, say, had come about, and then Joe went away and kind of had a few demos of a few songs. The one of which survived was Killer, which was about one of the, well, it's all fictional, of course, but it was about one of the one of the locals that frequent the bar quite regularly for Larry, and that was kind of the basis of kind of the style we wanted to go with, kind of, you know, that whimsical, kind of funky, kind of, you know, light-hearted kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like loads of songs came to us around that time that we don't play anymore. But like, just trying to think off the top of my head, definitely that tune, and I think that might actually be the only one that came prior to COVID. And then when COVID hit, then, and we did our kind of COVID meetups every so often when the travel restrictions were lifted, we kind of bulk wrote a load of tunes, like got a load of the songs down kind of musically, and and then had a bit of a chat about where the lyrics were going to go, kind of what story we were going to tell, what characters we were going to put into it, now all that kind of stuff. So it began really, really early on, and then just kind of developed over COVID then, when we had a lot more time on our hands to kind of think about it, sit down, write, and kind of discuss what direction we were kind of going in.
Yeah, we were kind of part of that whole group of bands that were like literally just starting just before COVID. Like we literally did one gig and then COVID happened, and then it was just like, for fuck's sake. Yeah. Like, so but on the flip side, we had lots of time then to kind of put all these songs together and really develop the concept. And we were lucky enough to have some friends who put on some under the radar COVID gigs, which were very fun.
And I think a piece of Picnic was one of the big ones we did, where they had that little electric picnic, where they were only allowed to have it because they were filming it. I don't know if you remember that rule where you could have like gatherings of a certain amount of people if you filmed them for.
I don't remember that at all.
TV or whatever. Yeah, they had a few things like that. I think in the book factory as well.
There was arts grants going for it. Yeah, there was arts grants going for it. So I think a few people did them. Yeah,
very much restricted. Like I think like Electric Picnic was just like the Salty Dog stage, Trailer Park, and Rankin's Wood. I think there's like 3 stages and maybe like 200 people spread over the whole size of Electric Picnic.
Oh wow! Oh Jesus!
It was pretty good. Like, you know, it was mostly just like people that ran EP were there, and people that had helped or volunteered in the past, plus the bands that played. That was pretty much the whole clientele that came down, plus the cameramen as well. And it was a great lineup as well, from what I remember. I think like the Scratch played,
class.
We played, TPM played their last gig ever at it as well, which was amazing. My first and last time seeing them, unbelievable. And then it was just a big hoolie till about 3 a.m, just kind of dancing and drinking and doing what you usually do.
That would have been.
It was great crack. Yeah. It was great crack.
Yeah, because one of my, like, it's funny listening to the album, because while we were discussing it before that we started recording, it reminded me just how ridiculous that time period was. Like, one of my key remembers of COVID was do you remember the Substantial meal?
Yeah.
going to the Globe, because the Globe was still open at the time, and they were doing Substantial meals, which was I ordered a nacho and cheese, and it was King's Crisp with fucking melted normal cheddar cheese on it. It was €11.
I mean, that was just a scam. That was just a scam for the pubs to make their money back.
It was crazy.
Yeah, the only thing substantial was the price. You could give anyone anything. Like, you give them like one olive on a little toothpick and charged 11 quid for it. As long as it met that threshold, you could serve as many pints as you want after that. Like.
And the takeaway pints. I remember going down to the canal. Jesus Christ, about 400 people on it. You're just like, there's no social distancing happening here at all.
Yeah.
Lads with just the fucking nitrous balloons. Cards walking right by, not giving a shit.
But they couldn't touch them or they catch COVID, like, so they had to leave them off, like.
But sure, we might as well go through some of the tracks. The Ick, which, by the way, I have never put blackcurrant in my Guinness, but I've seen it's kind of
good lad.
Is it not? I don't see people do it now. Is it kind of like a country thing, or I don't see it?
No. It would happen in our bar all the time. Now,
really?
Usually it wasn't Irish people who did it. But no, I mean there were some regulars that would come in and have a drop of blackcurrant in a glass of Guinness, and I was just like, there's so many things wrong about that order.
So does that song just come from just kind of just a hatred of that, or?
I think initially yes, but I think when we dug deeper into it, we were just kind of like, when we looked kind of at the broader, especially around that time, and even still today, like when we look at like kind of society and people in general, there's like trivial things can set people off because they don't have kind of the chance to vent their frustrations at what's really going on. So there was a lot of that in the record, like even like the Ryanair's a bit of that as well. Do you know what I mean?
Ryanair, but anyway.
Yeah, but I think we like so like I'm a big fan of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right? And they're like artists at taking that idea and portraying it in obviously a comedy TV show that is just so on the point, and just so clever. So I guess it was that kind of idea. that we wanted to implement into the songs as well.
Because I saw you mention It's Always Sunny, and like Always Sunny, as you said there, is a master of kind of making an episode about one thing, but it's what you just said, but it's actually like, I still remember the one they did about women getting haircuts, which is clearly about women's reproductive rights, and you're just like, that is so fucking smart how they did that. So that's okay. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, actually, sorry, go on.
Sorry, no.
I was just going to say, like, from an actual kind of, you know, music, like instrument wise, is it kind of difficult writing? Because I've never, like, I listen to funk music, but I never kind of get the story aspect of it. Is it kind of difficult writing songs around a story in kind of like a funky, fresh kind of way of doing it?
I would say, like, okay, so we say we're a post-funk band.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a fun word to say, to categorize what we are. We're post-funk, whatever. All right, grand. I think, like, for me anyway, and I think the rest of the lads will agree, like, we kind of don't let genre dictate what we're doing. I would say, like, I'm a firm believer in that is just, genres are ridiculous these days, because no one, like, listening habits, no one listens to genres anymore. People listen to everything.
Yeah.
With streaming and accessibility and just like people's moods. So I think when we were writing these stories, we were kind of letting the stories almost dictate what the music would be. But I think because we're all like big funk heads, like everyone in the band loves funk.
Yeah.
And loves loves jazz and loves soul and R&B and all that stuff. Like, that's our bread and butter. So I think like that was always going to be there. So that's why I guess we called ourselves a post-funk band.
Yeah, and it kind of it started off quite funky, like with stuff like The Killer, as in like that was the first tune I think we kind of created and kind of had from the start. And as it progressed, like there is still quite funky tunes there, but you can kind of hear that it gets a lot heavier and maybe not as funky, and that's where the kind of post-punk side of the post-funk comes in. Yeah. But like we still have that kind of funkiness in us, you know, and that's kind of where the base of it is. So, and when we lay down kind of the music, like we do quite a lot of jamming where we'll take like, you know, I'll lay down a beat or something and then the lads will play over it on guitar or bass, and we'll just kind of loop what's going on and throw in a few little tasty bits here and there, you know, like a little fill or a little slap on the bass or something like that, and see what kind of, throw it all at the wall, see what sticks, and then just play it over and over and over, and leave Joe kind of have a think about what comes to mind when he hears that tune, to see kind of what lyrics will come to his head, and then he'll come to us with stuff, and then we'll sit down and kind of dissect the lyrics and say, right, or like what do we want to change? Like, is this a good song? Like, are we going in the right direction, kind of thing, you know?
And by the way, just you mentioned bickering about genres. If you ever want to see people go nuts on genres, go on Reddit and go on the grindcore subreddit or the metal subreddit, because the amount of it's fucking so stupid. It's like, that's not really grindcore, that's actually noisecore. It's like, shut up, it's all the same. Jesus. Biggest bunch of moaners. But please tell me, by the way, Bray's very own Casanova, did somebody actually say that? Please tell me they did.
Oh yeah. So the Killer, that is the Killer who you hear on that track. I don't mind saying this. The Killer was at that time was a very important person in my life.
Okay.
Because he gave me a lot of ideas for this album. But he is and was a real person. Shout out to the Killer if he's listening.
Yeah, I think we all ended up meeting him at various points. Yeah, over the course of about 4 or 5 years, we all ended up meeting him at least once. And like we didn't even have to ask like Joe to point him out. We were just in the pub, and he'd pop up and start talking, and straight away he'd be like, okay, that's the Killer. That has to be him.
Well, like, he refers to himself in the third person, so it's hard to it's not hard to know. It's like not him. Like
I had an Irish teacher who did that. She was like, Miss O'Leary wants your homework, and Miss O'Leary is going to get your homework now. You're just like, what the fuck?
It's bizarre, isn't it?
It's such a weird way of talking.
It's like your man from Silence of the Lambs. What's he say again when she's in the hole?
She puts the lotion on the skin, or else she gets the hose again.
Yeah, that's it.
I've seen that film way too many times to be able to recite that straight away. Can I ask you about Deep Dirty Bastards?
Yep.
Because that's one of my favorite songs on the album. I particularly like the versatile lyric. Where did that song come from?
That song came from, well, you kind of hit the nail on the head there.
Just gobshites.
I mean, yeah. So like, I guess we wanted to talk about how certain masculine subcultures kind of represent themselves.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of it at the moment.
There's a lot of it at the moment, and it's something that we feel very strongly about, and it's something that we want to be on the antithesis of, I think. I mean, that's why when you come to a show, like we make a very strong point at the start of all our shows to say like this is a community, and the whole point of this is to be open and meet new people and be accepting of people and to have a good time. And I think that was a song. That song just gave us an opportunity to talk about that. And again, it's influenced by shows like Always Sunny, and I'm sure you can hear bits of that in it.
Well, the ending caught me off guard, to say that. I won't ruin it for anybody who hasn't listened to it, but yeah. But it's like that kind of rhetoric. Like, I know I said this on the last episode, but I'll say it again. Like, this kind of hard man thing. Like, there's a pub that I drink in Sandyford, and you kind of get a very mixed bag of people coming in. But I remember there was one lad chatting to us, and he asked for a lighter, and I gave it a lighter, and he goes, "You're probably one of those little wokey boys, aren't you, with your burgundy trousers?" I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
It's like, I just met you. Why do you have to be like a hard man? Straight, we gave you a lighter.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. And it's just like, why can't everyone just be sound? Why does everyone have to make this point of being hard? I'll kill you if you say the wrong thing kind of attitude, which is just. It's sad, obviously, when we see what's happening from a broader perspective across the world. But I think that was our opportunity to kind of make a commentary on it, I guess. Yeah.
And another song that I love is Sham the Bouncer. And what I love about it is it has that such heavy guitar tone on it, but then it's actually a song about a bouncer that's actually sound, from what I gather.
Yeah. We're just flipping shit on its head, left, right.
Because that tone for me kind of caught me by surprise, because it's so heavy. Did you know going in it was going to be this big fucking, or like you said you wrote the music before the lyrics, was it?
Well, I mean, I think it probably happens different ways for different songs. Sometimes I'll have an idea and I'll be like, okay, I'll have like the broader idea. I'll be like, okay, I know that there's this bouncer and he's a good guy, and I want to write a song about that. And then the lads will like take that and like write music to it. Okay. And then I'll go away with that and write lyrics, and then we'll come together and we'll tear it all apart and start again. That's kind of how it starts. But in terms of the idea, like I like when I work in the pub, like all the bouncers. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some bad bouncers out there.
Yeah,
of course, there are.
We've all run into my fair share.
Yeah, we've all run into them, but there are some good ones too.
Yeah,
and I think again, it was just an opportunity to flip it on its head and be like, no, there are some good bouncers as well. And actually, a lot of the time, there's more drunk idiots than there are shit bouncers.
If you go into Shinay on a Saturday, you'll find me chatting to Tom the bouncer about history. He's the nicest guy going. Like,
yeah.
But actually, from an instrumentation standpoint, what was the most difficult song to write on the album? Because there's a lot of different, like every song has a kind of a completely different feel to it in a way. So I was just wondering, like, what would be the most difficult song writing wise, instrumentation?
You take that, Wally. Go on. You're the drummer.
I would say, like, when we do write any tunes, it's quite like it always starts as a jam. And we'll have loads of jams, and we'll pick a jam that we like to develop further. And I suppose, like when it comes to the songs on the album, I think the one that was kind of most difficult was probably Our Regards for me. I think the last track, because there's quite a few more parts in it musically than the other tunes, I would say. And that kind of got, in my opinion, musically, I think that got dissected quite much more than the rest of the songs. Now, in saying that, the whole chorus of Matt Damon for me got flipped on its head in the recording process. The whole beat changed. But yeah, with Our Regards, I think like it's much more dynamic than the rest of the songs. So when you're bringing kind of all those different kind of dynamics and sections together and trying to piece them coherently without it being too much of a jump one way or the other, kind of loud or quiet, it kind of becomes a bit more difficult to nail down exactly what you want to play, because it has to sound good on the album but also sound good live as well, you know. And for any of the drummers that are listening, it's the song I finally got to put the Purdy Shuffle into, which I spent years trying to perfect, and I'm still I'm 90% of the way there, and I do a really good job, but it is quite difficult and quite fun to play as well, you know. So I think, our regards would be one of the ones, but they all have their challenges as well.
That's a
I do remember.
Sorry.
Oh, thank you. I do remember being quite against changing the drum beat of the chorus of Matt Damon when it came time, because we had spent, I'd say, a good 2 years playing that song, and I loved the chorus that I had. And then when Richie, our engineer / one of our good pals, came in and was like, "Oh, we'll try this instead," I was like, "Are you joking me?" And then eventually I came around to it, and it sounded amazing, and I just kind of thought, "Oh wow, I'm being such an idiot here. But this sounds way better, and it's actually really fun to play as well." But you
mentioned Richie Kennedy there, by the way. He did a fantastic. The album sounds fantastic. So I was just wondering what it's like to work with him in that capacity.
Richie is the best. Richie, what are you laughing at?
I love Richie.
That could either be a really bad thing or a really good thing.
No. Shout out to Richie. He's our unofficial manager. No. Richie's just been we were always kind of any recording we had done, we were still figuring out because I guess we're very much a live band, right? Until that's how you get the full. You probably don't get the whole thing until you've seen it live.
Yeah, I've seen it. We were trying to clicks kind of right away.
yeah. I mean, exactly, and it's all about even from a songwriting perspective, just kind of go back on ourselves a little bit. We'll always write stuff to a point where we can get it to a gigging level.
Okay.
And that means it's not perfect. So we will go out and we'll gig songs before we finish writing them, basically, and then they kind of take on their own form. And that's kind of how we do a lot of our writing. But Richie came in, and it was the first time that we were kind of okay, this is getting pretty close now to what it's like live. But still then giving us the opportunity in this studio to experiment and create something that we wouldn't necessarily be able to do in a live environment either. So it is, while it's different, we feel like it's a pretty close representation to what it is live, but also kind of being its own thing as well. And Richie was just he's the best lad. He's from, where's he from? Just outside Cabra?
Yeah, he's up by Ashtown or Ashington.
Okay, yeah.
Ashington, yeah. So he just got the whole thing straight away, you know?
And absolute amazing at guiding us in the right direction to where we needed to go. He never put his foot down and said, "Oh, you can't do this, we have to do something else." He was more "Oh, I love what you're doing, but let's try this and see," which was his way of saying that was shite, you have to do something different, which was totally cool. Exactly. But 100.
I know it probably sounds harsh, but you're kind of I suppose later on you're we probably needed that.
I think Dan said it before, he saved us from ourselves inside the studio. He really did. And he was always so open to everything. Even if something wasn't sounding great, he'd give us the opportunity to give it a go. He let me use cowbell many a time.
Nice.
we actually put a load of cowbell and a load of percussion into the ick in the choruses, which it wasn't even on my mind, because the lads aren't the biggest fan of cowbell. I do tend to throw it into songs in the most not suitable places. In our regards, it definitely doesn't need cowbell. It's a more serious song, but he was quite open to tastefully sprinkling those things in, which I would have had a very hard time convincing the lads of doing in the first place. So yeah, Richie's a good man.
I mean, there's so many little nuggets he got onto that album just to please us. There's little voice recordings that we had on phones and stuff that he managed to sneak into certain songs, and just for no one else but us, in the studio, just so when we're listening back, we'll laugh about it and stuff.
By the way, Wally, I feel like the cowbell would be a much more respected thing if SNL never did that sketch on it. I like the cowbell. It sounds great.
Yeah, and like you go back and like to funk again, like funk is based around a solid, good cowbell, like metronome almost. So like dunk, 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 like very chic, you know. Like it's a brilliant instrument to have in the band, and I was using it for quite some time. I did overuse it for sure. Like I've come to that realization. Same way, like with like your brother being the biggest Chili's fan, like you were saying to us there a while ago. You hear the cowbell too much, and you don't want to hear it much more anymore after that, you know. So yeah, bring back cowbell. That's what I say anyway.
There's the tagline for the episode. What actually, just out of curiosity, for the both of you, what would be your favorite song off the album?
Ooh.
I know it's just out, so it's probably early doors, but yeah.
You can go first.
Okay, because like I have equal love for all of my children, of course. You know, they're all brilliant, and I love them all. But if I had to pick one of them, and just based off of like the history of the song itself and how it got to where it is today, I would say The Killer.
Nice.
I think that turned out pretty amazing. Like, because we had recorded it before and we had demos of it. I think we recorded it 2 separate times and we released it once, and now we have our album version of it. And it actually does sound exactly how I had it in my head. And there's like some really cool double drumming going on, and like the guitar riff changed, and like it really, really came to life. And it kind of, to me, symbolized like where we started with this kind of really cool, funky song about a dude called The Killer. And it became this like really intricate kind of beautiful song that I can look at now and be like, Jesus, well, we came a long way. So I think that is pretty much my favorite tune, and like the best one to play by far is The Ick. It's just a absolute amazing, loud, intense, unbelievable tune to play live and get everyone going absolutely berserk and mental to.
Joe, for yourself?
I would have to say I think my favorite song on the album is Social Scene, which is the first track on the album.
Song. Yeah.
It's kind of my little love letter to Bray also.
Is that the Yummy Mummies?
Yeah, the Yummy Mummies. Love them Yummy Mummies.
Look, I went to Blackrock. The Yummy Mummies turning up to pick up their kids at fucking 4:00 during the day in full dresses. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's I swear to God, it was the most bizarre scene. You'd come out, just these women in SUVs, fucking dresses, high heels. You're like, you're picking your son up from school.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reality TV show in that. Like,
There was a short story I remember doing for the Leaving Cert where it was about like the this is all off Gaeilge as well, the short story, and it was about the like housewives in Blackrock. I think it was actually like all the kind of like D4, like upper class kind of like wives of like husbands that had really good jobs, so they just kind of stayed at home looking pretty, kind of like doing all the bits around the house and looking after the kids and stuff like that. Kind of your traditional kind of way that it used to be, you know. And like the story was about this woman throwing a huge party, and like she was worried about how she was going to look throwing out the rubbish at the end into the bin. So she like went and got a beautiful dress on her to throw it out in case the other wives were out looking at her, in the morning time. Like it was bizarre, like absolutely bizarre. But yeah, they're mentalers, like the whole lot of them.
The Irish education system for you.
Sorry,
go on, Bar.
No, one of my favorite songs is just because maybe it drives up all these images is I'm never flying with Ryanair again. So like, because I have some awful stories with Ryanair. I remember a woman wouldn't let me pee, the air hostess, for the whole fucking flight. It was an hour-long flight and I needed to pee. There was a newly engaged couple next to me talking about their ring, and I had to go, just please stop talking to me, because if you talk to me, I'm going to lose concentration, and then I'm going to pee. It was that bad. She just kept saying we were going through turbulence. I was like, we're not going through turbulence. The seatbelt sign's off. And she was like, no, back in your seat. But anyway, I'm assuming that's based off an ordeal with Ryanair, or?
I think it's based off
many stories.
many stories, exactly. And then I was just in the airport one day, and I was heard someone, like, there was a massive delay, of course, and there's just someone up at the customer service desk giving the lady on it absolute dog's abuse. And at the end, they were just like, I'm never flying with Ryanair again. Yeah. And I was just like, that's a lie. That's a straight up lie. Like,
that's what I love about that is as well, because like I used to work in fast food, and you'd get a lad at like 2 o'clock in the morning, like he fuck up his order, and he goes, "I'm never fucking coming here again." It's like, well, first off, we don't really care, and secondly, it's like I guarantee you'll be in here at 2 o'clock in 2 weeks' time.
Exactly.
Yeah. But actually, go on, Wally.
So I just think for me, when it comes to Ryanair, it's like one of those things where you'd get an even worse service for even less money, if for more money, I should say, if he was allowed to go that far.
Yeah.
Like your man, Michael O'Leary, I think it is. Like he wanted the standing seats. He wanted those seats where you kind of sat like in a double decker fashion, like a zigzag as well. It's just like,
what?
If he there were like these seats where like you sat down like in your L shape, and then there was another seat that kind of flush kind of went in the L shape of you, like right in front of your face. Oh, God. So like I don't know how to do it here. Where am I gone? So like the seat was kind of coming down here like that and straight out. Jesus. So you kind of had like a little steps kind of like thing. Like there's plenty of stuff he wants to try to get away with and change the laws to like make it even worse experience for people. So I just think that attitude is just like, if you can avoid it, do like.
But did they not?
I think it was like.
Oh, sorry. Go on. I was just going to say, are they not? I saw that they were actually getting the standing seats, but they're slightly sloped, and they're testing them, which is like I'm never flying like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, Joe. You were going to say.
I was just going to say, like, I think, like, then on top of that, it was just like the perfect vessel, or there were the perfect stories to kind of like delve into kind of blame culture that we see again. Like, I mean, Trump's the perfect example of that, just deflecting blame onto something else.
Yeah.
Tylenol at the moment. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just, it's just, there's so much of that. Like, you could be the most horrible person in the world, but like, there's always someone else to give out about and blame. And obviously we see that across all sections of society. But yeah, that was just our way of bringing a comedic spin to it.
I have to ask, by the way, because I work as a designer myself. I absolutely adore the cover for the album. I wonder if you can tell us a little bit. It's such a good cover. It really is. I just want to, if you want to tell us a little bit about where that came from.
Shout out to Mr. Liam Smith, guitar extraordinaire, and just all around amazing at the designs, graphic and otherwise. We kind of had the idea of making the cover kind of like a Guinness ad almost, in a way, where you had like the facade of a Guinness out of just regular like non-Guinness things, you know, like Guinness are the best at that, and kind of putting all the themes of the album together and creating that kind of photo. Like it was Liam mostly, I think, involved in that. Would you say, Joe?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not doing him justice because we don't have the vocabulary or talent that he does. But no, Liam, like everything design that you see Scustin, it's Liam.
Okay.
And yeah, I guess like we came together obviously, and we were like brainstorming what it would be, and obviously, as Wally said, the Guinness ads were big inspiration. And then obviously the church plays a role in what we're doing imagery wise. And I think even with some of our newer songs that will come down the line, we think a lot about that. So yeah, we wanted to use that imagery, but portray it, I guess, in a modern kind of way.
No, he did a great job,
and that's what he did.
Really great job. I really like it now. Now, before we move on to, as I said, we're going to chat about kind of a few random questions. I call it drunk questions I'd ask you at a bar, which I probably did the last time I met you, but she won't talk about. But just before we go on, tour dates. You have a bunch of tour dates. If you want to say where you're going.
Well, we just announced today that we are going on tour around the UK with Inhaler.
Class. That's awesome.
Two nights in Belfast, the 6th and 7th of October, a night in Edinburgh on the 9th, of October, Portsmouth on the 29th, and then a sold out Royal Albert Hall on Halloween, which is very exciting.
That's going to be amazing.
yeah, we're very, very bloody excited about that. We'll be at Swoon Festival. I think I'm saying that correctly. It's SWN. It's Welsh. I'm probably not saying it correctly. I'm very sorry for all your Welsh listeners for not pronouncing that correctly. We're going to Wild Paths Festival in Norwich, also in October, and then we're going on a full headline UK and Irish tour in February and March.
Fantastic.
And all the information for that is on our socials.
Brilliant. So these are the questions, as I said, they're fairly basic questions, but one of the questions I love asking, and if you don't buy music, that's fine, but it's what was the first and last album that you ever bought?
Ooh, cool. Wally, you go first.
The first album I ever bought was Bullet in a Bible by Green Day.
Great.
Or no, it wasn't. It was American Idiot. My apologies.
Fantastic.
I got that on CD after my dad got the live album for his birthday, I think, one year. So I got the real deal. And that kind of started my love for drums. That was like the very first album I bought myself with my own money. And then the last album I bought, it was a vinyl. And do you know what it was actually? It was a Red Hot Chili Peppers B-side from the I'm With You era. It was a little 9-inch, I think, or 7-inch disc. They released like a full album of B-sides and released them all on like those little 7-inch vinyls, like one song on each side, like 7 of them, 14 songs in total. And I just saw it online one day a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, that's actually one of my favorite ones out of that whole era. So I said I'd give it a go, and yeah, that was the last one I bought. It has all the handwritten lyrics on the back by Anthony Kiedis and everything. So yeah, that was the most recent one I bought.
Is that a new run that they're doing of those?
No, I think I found this on Discogs.
Oh, right, okay.
On online. There was like a specific shop that I would go through with my pal Cian. I think it's Zardoz, Zarodoz, I think. It's just like it has 30 or 40,000 vinyls that kind of come and go. Like the most random stuff is there, and I think this was like 15 or 20 quid for the little 7-inch.
Beautiful.
That just kind of appeared out of nowhere. So I was like, yeah, get that in the basket there now while it's there, you know.
Nice. By the way, you mentioned Green Day. That's another band that my brother was obsessed with. So I have to introduce you to him.
They're going to have lots to talk about. Can we bring him on tour with us? So
absolutely, he would love that.
Please.
Joe, for yourself?
The first album I bought in golden discs and Bray was Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not by the Arctic Monkeys.
Oh, class. Okay. Yeah.
And it's still probably my favorite album today. We won't talk about the rest of their albums, but that album, I think, for me was a big reason that I wanted to get into being in a band. And the most recent album I bought, I'm pretty sure was The Scratches' most recent album. I bought it on vinyl at their show. Again, big. We love The Scratch. They're a big reason why Scustin does what they do. So shout out The Scratch.
I still can't believe that the first time I saw The Scratch, I didn't want to go because it was that Knock and Stocking, and a friend of mine was like, "Bar, you're gonna love it." I was like, "What is it?" And he's like, "It's like Irish metal but without the electric stuff." And I was like, well, then what the fuck is the point of that?
Yeah. 100%. That sounds shit. But then you go and you're like, holy
then it was,
fuck.
I think they opened with like Get It Right Up Yet. I was like, oh, what the fuck's this? It's like, this is amazing. Couldn't believe I did.
Good.
And now I absolutely adore them. I think they're fantastic. I missed the Fibbers show. They played Fibbers recently, which
I saw
with Hero and Error, which is crazy. But next question is, when you hear the term underrated artist, who pops into your head?
Underrated.
This doesn't necessarily have to be Irish bands, by the way, because I always say if it is Irish bands, we could be here for the next hour. The talent in the country.
I'm actually going to say Viagra Boys, because I think they should be way bigger than they are, and they're also my favorite band.
I still remember seeing them in the Grand Social. And a friend of mine that was with Zach was like, these guys are going to be fucking massive. I was like, how are they not massive already? And your man kept joking that he's from Kilkenny, the singer, for some bizarre reason.
I mean, yeah, they are like peak human performance. And Wally, for yourself?
Most underrated. I would personally say Parcels. I think like I remember seeing their live album that came out a couple of years ago, Live Volume 1, I think it was called. And like they're a pretty big band, all things considered, but like they should be like on the radio everywhere you go. Like they make the most beautiful, like funky, soulful music. It's beautifully mixed and mastered. They all have beautiful voices. Like it's one of the only bands I listen to where it's not just the drums I listen to. Like I listen to everything else that's going on. And I'm just so shocked that they haven't like properly come to Ireland yet. At least I don't think they have. They were supposed to play, I think, Body and Soul a few years ago, but their equipment went missing. And I think Laboon took their spot on the stage and Parcels didn't play because they obviously didn't have anything. And they didn't get there, unfortunately. But yeah, I think, if you haven't listened to them, give them a listen. They're absolutely amazing.
Where are they
very,
from?
very chill, soulful. They're from Australia, but they're based in Berlin. And they're signed to a French label, and their first single was produced by Daft Punk.
Okay.
Whoa,
wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they've worked with them a little bit since, but they like mainly did their first kind of big single, Tied Up Right Now, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And they've kind of gone through look changes and a bit of a sound change as well, but they've always just been absolutely bloody amazing. Like, another one of them brilliant Australian bands that kind of made it across to Europe.
Are they Australian?
Yeah, they're all Australian. Yeah.
I might add Hiatus Coyote to that as well because I think they're seriously underrated.
Oh, yeah.
Them
yeah
either
good
now,
shout.
to be honest.
Oh, I think they're one of the best bands around.
Are they Australian as well? Is that where you mentioned them? Or
Yeah.
I still, what was the band? Fucking, not band. Matt Corby. Every time, do you ever listen to him? Every time I listen to him, I was just like, that man is just so, he's just such a soulful man. He's massive as well. And he says that he's just content with playing house parties. Just like, he's like, I just like doing small gigs. I was like, all right, well, fucking, I saw you in Vicar Street. But speaking of which, actually, what's a live show you saw recently that you thought was fantastic?
I don't want to say Viagra Boys again, but that was fantastic.
Was this in the Olympia? Was it?
No, I'm actually, I live in London.
Oh, you live in London?
So
okay.
Yeah. So I saw them in the Brixton Academy, but that's not my pick. That's not my pick. Let me pick something else. Wally, if you have one, jump in.
Yeah, I think one of the most recent gigs I've seen that was amazing was Gurriers in Dolan's warehouse in Limerick over the summer for show to shows. Like, they were they're always amazing. I've seen them so many times, but that specific show in Limerick, like I don't know if you've been to Dolan's warehouse, but it's kind of like
for the Siege. I've been for the Siege. Oh, that's not.
Class.
That is where the Siege is, isn't it? Dolan's.
It is. Yeah, it's all over Dolan's. Yeah. I think there's three or four venues inside in Dolan's that they set up for, but the main kind of big boy place is the warehouse. And like the balcony comes like right up to the side of the stage. It's absolutely amazing. And it was the first time I'd ever seen someone hop up onto like the outside part of it. Like Charlie, the bass player, just like hopped up and like ran up and down the side of it. I mean, like proper health hazard. I thought they were going to shut the whole place down because they had a few like, people put in claims for getting hurt in the warehouse from like being too rough and stuff. You're not allowed mosh or anything in there anymore, but he got away with it. It looked really cool. Everyone went mental.
Yeah. You should tell the fucking Siege that.
Yeah, like it's mad because like it was because of Siege, I think, from what I heard through the grapevine. I can't confirm or deny if this is the truth or not, but apparently at one of the Sieges, this like random person like got knocked over and hurt their leg and put in a claim against Dolan's and they won. So they obviously cost them a fortune, and now they have,
I kind of think
for a while anyway, they had stopped it completely. They had like the two lads up the front, Podge being one of them, absolute legend, Limerick legend, always worked in Dolan's.
Another sound bouncer.
Amazing fella. And they'd be standing right at the front of the stage, and as soon as there's any kind of like notion of someone moving up and down in any way, shape or form, they're there to stop it, like, just to make sure there's no kind of hassle. But like you can get away with a bit of debauchery if you're lucky and the crowd are sound, like,
Fair, I've seen some fucking stupid stuff at metal gigs, so that's understandable. I remember seeing a show, we were at Opium, and a guy got on the stage and he started run. It was a hardcore show, and he started going to the very back of the stage. And I was like, oh, look at this gobshite. He's going to Superman the crowd. Well, he's going to do big running. And he did it, and I just saw the crowd clear. I was like, oh, God. And then 2 seconds later, the band were like, stop the show, stop. He knocked himself out. He jumped straight into a pole. Just idiot behavior.
Oh, dear.
Idiot behavior.
Oh, God.
But with Charlie, by the way, I saw Charlie in Manchester at a Gurrier's show, and they went so far up that I was like, if they fall, they're fucked. Like, you know, it's but they got down. Yeah. But Gurrier's one of the best live bands going at the moment, I think. I've never seen them put on anything other than 110%.
Yeah, I saw their Scala show, which was their most recent London one headline, and it was like, I'd seen them a few times before that, but that Scala show was like next level. I'm actually going to see them again on Saturday.
Oh, fantastic.
They're playing in London.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out Careers. My pick actually, now that we're talking about it, in terms of like, I saw Fat Dog.
Oh, I've never seen them. I've never seen them.
I saw Fat Dog before Christmas last year, and it was like maybe one of the greatest live shows I've ever seen. It's insane.
Well, guys, we're just coming up to an hour here, so I just want to, because that's the end of the podcast, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and just to reiterate, Confessions of a Pub Talker is out now, and tickets for the tour are all available now as well.
100%. Thank you for having us.
Oh no, thank you so much.
million.
I've been a big fan of you guys for a while. I love the album, so absolutely fantastic to have you on. So much appreciated.
£1 a pound. Great to be here.